he goes on to say that better known effects are those on the development of religion and philosophy. Enlightenment thought has often identified scientific, he quotes and scare quotes there, as true and unscientific as false. And so modern thought's simultaneous a priori exclusion of the supernatural from the domain of science taints supernatural approaches with the suspicion of falsity and irrationality. And he says, yet such identifications unfairly load the deck epistemologically, right? So, science gives us rationality, and if it's unscientific, then it's probably false. And of course, religious beliefs, supernatural approaches are not scientific, and therefore the assumption is they must be false, right? So there it is, right?
Right.
He says that this radical Enlightenment approach continued into the 20th century. Early 20th century logical positivists, accepting only a priori truths or empirically verifiable ones, excluded metaphysics, normative ethics, and theology. Metaphysics, ethics, and theology were all excluded by the logical positivists because they were not empirically verifiable. We couldn't sense them, right? We couldn't experience them with our sense perceptions. And of course, the logical positivist said you couldn't do that and they weren't tautological statements, then they were meaningless statements. And so ethics is thrown out the door, theology is thrown out the door, all of metaphysics is thrown out the door.
Yeah. So, for them, probably nothing important lost. But this is what I always have issues with the early days of science fiction is my contention is always that people like Arthur C. Clarke and Isaac Asimov were the gatekeepers, even though they themselves were ostracized people. And then they wrote fiction and approved science fiction to come in. And their contention was just religion just kind of fades away. You just have enough buildup of futureness or science, and then just it takes a back seat. Now that just completely wipes out all of human history of caring about things like good and evil and religion and how about who we are as people. And so you have all three of them being wiped out here. And we also see that within early 20th century science fiction as well. So, Hume may take some blame for the good sci-fi, but we can also give him for some of the bad sci-fi too.